let's go ahead and take a look at this here Kerrigan. Let's hide the spoilers. This is Disciple. Disciple says, trying to climb the ranks of Hero League. Recently, I've been maining Kerrigan, 52% win rate in Hero League, and my assassin of choice. And I'd like to see if my play with this character warrants the time I'm investing into her. This replay is on Cursed Hollow. It's a good example of my playstyle with Kerrigan. I would like to know if there's anything I need to improve on, or should I invest my time in another assassin? And that's from Disciple. So, one of the first things we do when looking at these comps is decide what's our dive target, is there a dive target, and what we're going to do in the general map, what is our support options, and who are our dive buddies. Let's go ahead and answer that last one first. So we got two dive buddies here. Their names are Sonya the Slow and Diablo the Wicked Quick, because this is a Silver League game. So Diablo might engage too deep, and we need to keep an eye out for that sort of thing. We're hoping to join him. Sonya, though, can regenerate herself, so we don't need to join up on her dives a lot of the time. So we're going to watch Diablo, because he's the one that could get himself killed. We won't really pay much attention to Sonya, but she can keep us company when we dive. Jaina's going to put out a slowing circle. We may want to wait on a slow. Let's see how Jaina plays. We have to hit skill shots in a sense. We got to hit our E, and we have to pull them into a stun. Those are all sort of skill shotty. Then if they're slowed by Jaina, won't that be a lot easier? Should we aim something while they're being repositioned by Diablo? No, we shouldn't do that. That's going to ruin things. So we wait for Diablo to make the engage, make sure everything's nice and slow. Jaina slows everybody up. Excellent. Then we can frame our abilities, and we already have a nice little plan going. We only have a Lili. If we look at their gank and damage options, this is a little bit scary, but not so much on the gank front. In fact, this past weekend, we learned that running a Lili against Valeera is very powerful, because Lili has enough survivability, movement speed, and stuff of that nature, that while she's silenced by that Valeera and runs for it, she actually survives the disengage, which meant Valeera had no real gank target on the support end, had to gank our Kael'thas, and he was usually right in the middle of our group, so we took a great care there. So this is a little scary because we're not really empowering the Lili, except for we have some blind counterage, but blinds are hard to do, particularly in lower leagues, because you have to hit that blind at the moment of committal. If we see a moment like that, I'll let you guys know. But mainly, you want to blind Vala after she's gotten out a few auto attacks to make sure that her highest damage ones don't connect later on. There's a lot of regeneration here too. You have a Diva who's going to take forever to kill. I have to kill her twice. You have Varian who takes forever to kill, and a Chen. So if we have to aim at any of these guys, let's naturally aim for the Chen, because we're going to interrupt some drink there. We're probably not going to get a hold of a Lucio. So we have a combo target in Jaina. We should never really attack these two unless they're free auto attacks where we're going to complete a kill. Killing Lucio is great, but I think diving him is probably a bad idea. So everything is looking at Jaina. And now let's go ahead and make this nice little power pie here. Diablo dives, ideally, controlling the Vala. You join in on that. You guys delete the Vala. The drop beat isn't really your concern. And so this got even simpler then. Let's follow up after Jaina's made the additional engage. Cool, we have a plan. Let's see what Disciple comes up with. Isolation on a tank. And this is actually an even worse scenario there, what Diablo did. It's for fun, right? It's a fun game. It's fun to flip people. But he isolated Diva, who is currently in her mech, meaning the damage went nowhere. But also it was against a Lucio, who does free area effect healing. So you can see him and the Diva slowly getting healed here, and it's not costing Lucio a single ounce of his mana. That means this was a very poor engage by Diablo. The value exchange for his mana and his cooldown did not equal a kill or any sort of lasting effect. So when you're looking at a lane like this, there's nothing for you to do here. Diablo went top, he's up against Vala. You should head up top and join the Vala fight. That's because doing any damage on your type, the sustain type here versus a Lucio, is going to be negated with two tanks here. You have a small window of opportunity until 4 that maybe you can put some damage into Varian, but you have to really pile it on. It has to be burst, which means you have to follow up the Jaina here if you're going to get a kill. Chances are that's not going to happen, and we can make something happen with Diablo and start to instill that fear into Vala. So much of this game in the lower ranks can be won just through presence, fear, body language. You know, this Vala up here isn't learning the right lessons. The lesson she should be learning is that you are a total badass and you're gonna hunt her down soon. That you're coming for her. But instead she's getting this lesson that, you know, she's solo lane Vala, Diablo's probably taking a lot of damage versus her since he is, you know, unable to reach her. She is a sustain assassin, which means all these free auto attacks are getting some good value. Diablo there should have minded his lane collapse, which would basically be this moment here. I've been talking about this a lot on ITN recently, but it always bears repeating. This moment where this lane lost its target is a lane collapse. This is your most powerful time to make a solo gank. When Diablo just did what he did in the top, in fact, let's go back a little bit. Let's watch what Diablo did in the top. So he's just dragging those flame stomps back across everything. But here he engages into their minion collapse. These minions have no target at the moment, and all this damage is going to plow into Diablo. And look, his exchange did make Vala scared. You know, she had to run for it. She's not stutter stepping fantastically either, but she found bravery and all that damage that the minion lane did there. So always look for a lane minion collapse. Their damage just got buffed. It's such a great way. We also just did this with Jeff Kanata in our coaching episodes. He's been working on his Dahaka, and he wrecked it this past week. Completely destroyed by using the lane collapse concept. So here we have tanks, so we gotta wait for the Jaina. Now's our time to engage. We need to pick a target. Our pre-target has already been picked out. It's Chen. As silly as it is, as ridiculous as that is, here's shield wall, protection. There's Lucio, who's squirrely, not taking any damage right now. Chen's our target. Let's see if you do it. There's the protect that goes out. Oh, he juked. He did juke. Now, of course, Chen did kick away, but we could have expected that. What's Chen gonna do when he gets ganked? He's gonna kick away naturally. So we should have been ready for this. Roll in. Those two characters invested. Jaina even invested a Blizzard here. So to invest a jump into this area at all when everybody wants to leave it, not exactly gonna have the biggest impact. So let this thing happen, let people reposition, and then jump to the target. I see this all the time with Illidan. Let's imagine, here comes Illidan, and he's gonna flip our Disciple. And of course, what does he do? He leaps! He leaps to the back and then goes forward. And Leoric shoots his hand out the back, Illidan jumps over his head, and Leoric misses his hand. Every single Illidan is going to jump over you and then dash back. Most of them in the lower league anyway. Some of them just jump you, create a body block, hang out there for a bit, and then jump back. That's a little fancier. That's why, in this instance, we needed Disciple to go to the top to meet Vala, to see what kind of player she was. She's a dead player right now, so that's some good information for him. Learn about her, and particularly, that's why we're talking about these sort of moments. When I talk about analyzing the enemy team, I'm really talking about like getting in there, finding that Illidan, and does he do this flip? That's really important to know. Find out. Find out. All right, so a foolish little engage by Chen. Diablo apologizes for being late, though he killed Vala. Though I guess at this point in the game, that's not too important. In fact, our Hearthing Sonya's is probably going to cost us more, but they're down Chen at the moment. All right, you became the off-tank in Sonya's absence. With Chen down, they have a core comp as well. They've got Vala. Core comp, of course, I'm referring to a support, a most of the time sustained damage assassin, and a tank, most of the time referred to as somebody who can regenerate their own health in that case. So they have their core comps. They have their tank, the Varian there, the Vala, and the Lucio. We also have a core comp, but we are missing Sonya. Sonya is functioning as the regeneration off-tank. So for you in this engage, your job immediately becomes Sonya's job because you've got a Jaina and a Lily. You fill that role while she's gone, and when she appears, you can go back to more assassin-based mindsets. So right now, you need to be aiding in Diablo's plan, not only because we talked about it earlier that you should be looking for Diablo's engage and follow them up after he's made the relocate so that it doesn't ruin you. Watching for a slow from Jaina, of course. Just a couple things to be mindful of. No big deal. No big deal, right? Couple things to be mindful of. But here you're putting all that damage into their regeneration bruiser. Diva, you know, maybe not Muradin, maybe not Sonya, but a regeneration brews are all the same because she has a way to make back her health. There's a good dive. Do you have the reaction for it? You don't, because it went into Diva. That's where you could have leaped. Of course, you know, they're a bit of a misplay. You could have done your drag. It probably would have gotten the kill. Maybe you weren't aware of it. This is Silver play, so we're working with what we can here. Silver is really about production. It's about making sure you use all your abilities, that you have some mana management, but that your abilities are starting to find value. Gold is where it starts to really matter about your value, and then Platinum's a bit more about drafting when you get there. So that's why we're talking about this so much. Now here, this is a special instance because you could have attacked her there just to see what would happen because nobody's in the area and we might get a kill. This is a special situation. And there's always going to be these. It always depends. We have a 2-level lead as well. So let's see you get a little crazy with that. You got a talent lead? Let's see what you grabbed. I'm not really too interested in addressing Silver League talents here. I don't think there's anything truly wrong with Blade Torrent, increasing the radius or anything like that. Sharpening blades, nothing too wrong. As long as you're using your abilities, and this makes it easier to hit. Your basic attacks now cleave, so you can favor a cleaving attack. You know, clean kill. These are all really cute moves for you to do, but I'd rather you just use your talents and that your talents become your focus. Now here we can say in your talent build here, if you were out of mana, like kind of you are now, when you make an engagement, you wouldn't want to use a 40 mana Ravage. You wouldn't want to use a 60 mana Primal Grasp. You would want to use the 75 mana Impaling Blades because you put 2 talents into it. So you have increased its value by putting more talents into it. If you use your other abilities first and then have no mana for the thing you put talents into, you're doing it wrong. So point per point of mana value. How many people did your AoE hit? 1 per point of mana to damage value. All right, so we have it's such a weird conversation because of the triple tank kind of thing going on. But Sonya's battling Chen, 2 solo laners battling it out. So once again, you're kind of filling that off-tank role. Right now, though, you are in the correct position. Diablo has made that engage that we've talked about being a little too deep here. And you're sort of guarding this back line. Jaina dropped a Blizzard. Looks like maybe we could drag some people into that Blizzard. But then again, you know, we're here in space, looking down, saying what we notice in this amount of time. But Diva focus is strong. It's zoning her out, though. Okay, good refocus now. Diva gonna come back to that top. Here comes Sonya. Diablo mines the top a little bit. Sonya goes in. Diablo goes in. People are doing a pretty good job actually dancing around inside that Blizzard. There's Chen. Attack him. Yeah. Really great moments to commit here. I want you to auto-attack. Ooh, well that was good. Lots of dancing. So if you are frightened, if you're scared before 10, maybe skip Fury of the Swarm here. Is there something that would make you more comfortable at your current level? Let's see.
Note.
Damages nearby enemies. Okay. Clean kill. Those are all pretty good. Another button to use. Per second. Okay, so here you could find some damage in the area around you if you feel like you constantly have to reposition. In that fight there are really great moments for you to commit for extended auto attacks. Those decisions are difficult to make. I have a difficult time communicating future scenarios to you. What you can say there is that you were in very little danger for a good part of it, and you wiggled around too much. You should have gotten out some of your auto attacks. So to make that statement is very easy for me. It puts all the commitment on you. Let's instead flip that a little bit and say, let's just change your level 4 talent so that's not auto attack based. So if you don't auto attack or you get scared of auto attacking, it doesn't become an issue. Another stun straight into Diva, and she avoids it there. Yeah, so we're really seeing a pattern here. Maybe because she's what's available to you. Could also stay and attack it, get some shielding, if you think you can't make it out in time. Could be a good way to commit. There's a nice pile. Let's jump that thing. Okay, we got off the Maelstrom. It was a bit of a stomp because we had 10 early. So we all do silly things when we're just stomping. That positioning, I didn't see you make the engage with the Ravage, a Maelstrom first, which I like so that you're not CC'd and interrupted during your cast of it, but then leap into your new position, probably somewhere deep, and just start owning with your sweet level lead. So basically that was a little too uncommittal, a little too, it was under-aggressive for your level lead. It was a bit passive, a bit more survivability based. And for this next two, you know, until they hit 10, you should be going ham. You know, Diablo's got, this lane actually has this all by itself. There's no real reason to be up here. You should be partying mid. That'll probably take care of itself too, as funny as that is. Just because of the curse going on at night, once those minions get out in front, they'll collapse onto the giant. So now you have a 2-level lead, but they have their 10s. Probably the most dangerous time in games because we've been experiencing this level lead the whole time. Suddenly they surprise us with the drop the beat with some, oh, no, okay, so hey, let's go ham. We got 2 dead and a 2-level lead. I want to see you up on this wall. In Team League, I say put your face in this wall with me. That's what I want you to do. You're a melee hero, put your face in this wall. Don't be scared of nothing. Drag that Vala, keep her scared. So many ways to kind of get in her head. She's very weak on her positioning. She's not getting herself put out. It's more that she's just not enthusiastic enough to dodge what you could cook up in her face. Pretty strange use of a 90-second cooldown. In all honesty there. Here comes Chen. Just a low value. Remember, we're talking about value heal per point of mana spent per the cooldown. You know, if I were to, oh my, I'm horrible at math. I probably shouldn't do this. So it's something horrible like mana times cooldown divided by number of people hit with damage equals value. Someone do that. Someone make an equation for me. That had no value. It wasn't heroic. Damage. Oh? Oh, hey. Wouldn't it be nice to have a heroic? You totally start wrecking it, though. Nice job. Good commit. Okay, that was a really good committal. You're 3 levels up. But why did you wiggle around in the back? You're 3 levels up. Like, there's so many opportunities here for some really aggressive play. Everyone's just shocked. Yeah, but I understand your position, too, that you wanted to burn the boss as fast as possible. Maybe you were concerned about it. Just the value equation doesn't work out. If that boss goes in the bottom, you're going to give him the old double helping. Is always a good strategy. Yeah, you know what? I think I'd like to see you do Psionic Pulse. Just give you a reason to cast it, and rewards for hanging out in the area that you're already hanging out with. Also, to increase its value, you'll have higher value Maelstroms because you're pulsing energy all over the place. After you cast Primal Grasp, cast it, then jump in. Now you have a little AoE, giving you shields and whatnot. Because when you find your moments of committal for auto attacks, they're really good. But there's something for you. Some discovery we can make there. And it may be as simple as the pre-planning we did at the very top of this game when we were talking about what your target is, who you're accompanying, what's your win condition. Now, the decent win condition is Varian just gives up. You know, that's solid too. It looks like we do have a thrower.
Mayhem.
Get a camp. So at this point, we're already starting to win. All we got to do is make sure we don't lose. Who the heck would name themselves Ringworm?
We see who gathers enough.
There goes Vala.
Warriors, we have lost a fort.
4 level leads. Why not? Yeah, and I mean, that, like, those sort of things we're not analyzing. There's nothing to analyze in a Maelstrom that wrecks somebody 1v1 because you're creating a stagger.
Triple kill.
I grow tired.
Yep. Oh, oh, whoa! Look at that jumping the minion wave. Fancy that. Nice moves. Actually, let's. We're 3 levels up. That's why I'm fast forwarding now, because things can get a little silly. Bad positioning can become sweet baits at 3 levels up. So Jaina explodes. I just want to see your decision-making process here. Okay, Lily puts her blind out early, not reducing any real damage. And you come in and you do your combo, burying from the back. So it looks like we can also give you different kinds of engages. And if that comes down to combos, that might be the easiest way to think of it. Because they're going to run as soon as you activate your Maelstrom. So use that Ravage for the engage. So you really need to be keeping, like we talked about in that very first gank in the bottom, be thinking about everybody's movement abilities and wait for them to be used. In that fight, you activate Maelstrom. Vala's going to vault 100%. Cool. Now you have Ravage on cooldown. You're engaging Chen. He's going to leap away. Cool. We do it with Ravage on cooldown. We engage instead Varian, who has no escape. Then we can engage with the Ravage into that Primal Grasp and start putting out those shocks in the area around us. Clearly the game is a mixture of awareness, knowledge, and execution. And this was very free form, of course, when these are more formalized lessons. Watch them ahead of time and we're not reacting as much in real time, sitting back going, making notes. And then we discuss these in a more structured environment. This was very off the top of my head. I hadn't watched this ahead of time, so things were a bit more free flow. Thank you as well to Disciple for sending this in. So what we really saw was just, we need some more ability awareness. And we found some opportunities to increase your value. And those two things together, the value you can work on today, the ability awareness and thinking about mobility, that's very different. That's very different. Are basic abilities considered spells? Yes, they are. You can tell a spell or an ability based on the color of its damage. Auto attacks, right clicks are almost always, except for very select talents, going to be auto attack damage, which is kind of an orangey rust color. When you hit something with a spell, it does purple damage. And that's your best way to tell them. Basically, if it comes from an ability, it's ability damage, it's spell damage, a spell shield will reduce it. And you do need to be careful with that sort of information, because people like Nazebo, people like Sonya, Sonya can get in these really long battles versus Nazebo, and all she needs to do is put out a simple auto attack. It can feel a bit silly when you're watching it, but it does happen. Let me go ahead and show you here what I'm talking about. Actually was teaching my sister-in-law about this weekend because she was 1v1ing a Nazebo and losing on Sonya. And it's super crazy common to do. Because Sonya, all these abilities are ability damage. Your Seismic Slam, ability damage. Whirlwind, ability damage. And what are you doing here? Heals for 25% of the damage dealt. So you go and you start fighting something like Nazebo. And he's got Superstition. He's got 40 spell armor. But one auto attack removes it for 3 seconds. So when you're Sonya, you don't engage Nazebo with a hook shot and then a slam, spin. You engage very slow like. You ride up to him on your pony and you hit him once and then you spear and then you slam, spin, and then you hit him once. And plus, I mean, a lot of Sonyas, because they're just grabbing their builds off of Hot Slogs or something, are taking things like focus attacks, and they don't focus attacks and get out their auto attack once every 10 seconds or less if they've been, basic attacking. And they're just going slam, spin. It's like there's this value. You have a value equation sitting there for you. Grab it, take it. It's yours. It's yours to do with what you will. It's a good thing. Oh, and thank you.